What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be going over how to deadlift properly. So many people struggle with this movement, and I feel like there needs to be a very detailed video out there for you guys to really work on every little specific part to it. So this is going to be an awesome step-by-step guide to get you guys to that dreaded barbell that so many people struggle with. So we're going to be starting super light with a PVC pipe, then we're going to be going into some kettlebells, maybe a dumbbell or two, and then into that barbell, okay? So like I said, this can help anybody, beginners, intermediate, advanced, and even some trainers out there. Maybe you're a new trainer and you're struggling to teach your clients how to deadlift, and this is going to give you guys a good idea on how to guide them there, okay? And a good process to get them into that position with a lot of good cues that you can help them with that I've learned over the years as I've been a trainer, all right? So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, let's begin. So first and foremost, this is my garage gym that I'm going to be filming most of my videos in that you guys will see. It's pretty awesome. I got literally everything I need in here, and I'm going to be giving you guys a nice little horizontal view to start, and we're going to be using a PVC pipe. So this is super light, okay? This weighs literally nothing, and we're going to go through how to hinge your hips. That is the first motion that you guys need to get down to learn your deadlift. So you can either use a PVC pipe, or you guys can grab like a 10-pound dumbbell or something super light if you don't have anything like this at home. Maybe a broomstick or two, something like that is awesome to use. So I'm gonna give you guys horizontal views, frontal views, all different ways to give you guys the best detail that I can, all right? So first and foremost, hinging your hips. Everybody struggles with understanding what that means, right? All that means is taking our butt and pushing it directly backwards, right? So almost like if you were to touch your toes is a good way to think of it. But we want to learn how to slightly bend those knees a little bit, okay? So before we go into feet position and hand position and all that, I just want you to hold this bar or your dumbbell right in front of you, and we're gonna get our feet just around, say, shoulder width apart for now, okay? And what we're gonna do is have a slight bend in our knee. That's just like unlocking the knee. So if I stood up straight and my legs were locked, now just unlock them, right? Just a slight unlock to the knee. And from here is where we learn how to move those hips properly before we can do a full deadlift, okay? So I'm holding my bar in front of me, I have that slight unlock to my knees, and now all I'm gonna do is take my butt and push it directly behind me. And as I do that, my upper back is gonna follow forward. I'm not thinking about following forward, but I'm worried mostly about my butt going back. Okay, I keep thinking butt back, butt back. And now I'm in this position here. Some of you guys may have rounded as you were doing that, or you guys are in this nice tight upper back position where we wanna be, right? So this is where we need to be with that upper back nice and engaged. And now I'm in this hip hinged position. I pushed my butt back, right? We are not gonna be squatting today. We're gonna be taking our hips directly backwards. That is the key to any deadlift. So the motion we're doing right now is a stiff leg deadlift, or an RDL, a Romanian deadlift. That's what you'll hear that term all the time. So we're gonna try a few reps like this. So again, we are gonna unlock those knees, bend them slightly, right? And now all I'm gonna do is take my butt, and where are we going? Backwards, right guys? So push that butt back, and we're looking to get anywhere like around under those knees, mid-shin, somewhere around there, and I'm in a nice hip hinged position, basically a stiff leg deadlift, right? And I'm feeling my hamstrings work a little bit right now. That's what I want to feel. And once you guys understand this motion, you can try a few reps by working on just constantly taking our hips and pushing them backwards, right? And again, I'm using a weightless bar, so it's super safe to learn with. And again, trainers, you guys can use this with your clients and push your butt back, teach them how to get their hips driving backwards. So if you can get that down first, that's gonna gradually get you into the next motion, learning how to actually get into the full conventional deadlift position. So again, we're gonna be using this bar, okay, nice PVC weight, and the same exact motion we're gonna do is gonna be that little unlock in the knees. We're gonna take our butt back slowly, and as we descend and push the butt back to get a full deadlift now, we're in a conventional deadlift, we are gonna bend those knees slightly as the butt is going back, right? So now my butt's a little bit lower than it was before, right? So if I'm here, this is my normal deadlift position. If I'm grabbing a bar, a kettlebell, a dumbbell, this is it, right? But now, if I were to do a stiff leg like we did before, that's where my hips are, right? See how much further up and back my butt is compared to that, right? So this is my normal deadlift, conventional deadlift. This is my stiff leg, right? And in both of those positions, I'm locked nice and tight in my upper back. So a lot of people struggle with locking that upper back and being engaged. You'll see a lot of people just start to fall forward like this. You need to teach them. Use your hands as a trainer, push their chest up, push their back down, and get them in the right position. Or if you're doing this on your own, you're just first starting working out, lifting, this is a great way. Look at yourself in a mirror and get yourself into that first stiff leg position. Once you've got the stiff leg deadlift down, then you can start to drop that butt a little bit and learn your regular deadlift. So then you can try a few good reps. So again, let's do it together. We're gonna push that butt back with the slight bend in our knees. And then as that bar descends and our butt goes back, we slightly bend the knees. So it's like a motion together. It's not two. We're not doing butt and then dropping down into a squat. We're doing this all as one, right? So butt's gonna go back, we're slightly gonna bend those knees as we go, and now I'm in an awesome deadlift position, nice neutral spine, I'm feeling strong, and I'm ready to lift, okay? So that's the step one right there. You got your client or yourself learning how to deadlift properly in a stiff leg and a regular conventional deadlift with a weightless object that will not hurt them, and it's gonna teach them how to get in that position in a comfortable atmosphere, right? So now let's get into the kettlebell. All right, guys, now that we know how to hip hinge and get into a conventional deadlift position with our hips and back, we can add weight to the process, all right? So I suggest using a kettlebell because it's a little taller, it gets you in the right position, you can hold on to something, and it's right there in the middle. You don't have to worry about balancing a bar or anything. It's just one nice object that you can lift up and down, right? So let's go over the kettlebell now. So we have some weight in front of us. It's going to be the same position. We are now gonna only be working on the conventional deadlift. No more stiff leg positions. We learned how to do our hip hinge that got us in that mindset. Now we're gonna pick up a weight. So when you guys go down, I want that kettlebell between your feet, okay? Not too far out in front of us, okay? That's gonna get you leaning forward too much. I want it basically between your feet and your toes. And now let's get down into that position before you even lift it up, all right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pretend I'm holding that PVC pipe, just like we did, we push the butt back, right? And then I slowly bend those knees as my butt's going back, and look at the position I'm in, right? Where's my butt? It's back, right? My upper back is tight, I'm holding onto my weight, and I'm ready to lift, okay? So as my butt's back, I'm ready to lift here, I'm gonna just take that weight, and stand up gradually, nice and controlled, into one straight line, right? Perfect. So now I've got this down. I'm feeling confident with my hinge, but can I get back to the ground, getting in a good position, keeping my upper back strong as I push my butt back, tapping the floor, and coming back up, right? Now it gets challenging because you have weight in your hand, right? Most of you guys may start to fall forward again with that back, or your second thing that may happen is you may start to just squat straight down, right? You're not trusting that upper back to fall forward, especially someone who maybe have back pain or something that you've struggled with in the past, lower back, upper back. You may be nervous about this position, right? So you need to build confidence in trusting that upper chest and back to come forward in that pretty scary position, right? So again, we have our weight in our hands, we start to push our butt back, our upper back's falling forward, and I'm gonna slightly start to bend my knees and get down towards the ground. And look at that, right? Right in that perfect deadlift position, and I can work on standing up and down with just that kettlebell right now. You can start light, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, maybe 40 if you're dealing with someone who's a little stronger, and work on that for a week or two, and then you can gradually get up to the barbell. But now let's work on a few cues. I'm gonna give you the frontal plane now so you guys can see what I'm looking at with my knees and my arms, right? So my kettlebell's between my feet. The second biggest thing that happens all the time, and I see this with a lot of beginners, is because they're a little bit weak in their glutes, they're not as stable and strong, their knees love to cave in as they lift their deadlift, right? So when you pick that weight up, it's a good weight in your hands. Even if it's just a lighter weight, it may feel a little awkward. So when you're in that deadlift position and your upper back's tight, my knees are nice and strong, keeping in that good direction over my toes. But as a beginner, when I lift, I may swim it up with my knees. So did you see my knees there? As I came up, look, I'm in that deadlift, my knees came in, and I swam out. You may see that a lot, and then when you come down, people may just let their knees cave in. You have to teach them to be in a good position, teach yourself those knees to be in a good position over those toes, all right? So again, just to give you a good frontal plane vision of the deadlift, your upper back's tight, your knees are over those toes, you're gonna stand up nice and strong, and again, pushing the butt back, making sure the knees track over those toes, in a good position, and bam. There's your positioning with the deadlift with a weight in your hand. Now when you get that down and you really work on getting stronger with a kettlebell or dumbbells, you can gradually work to a barbell or a trap bar, which is another awesome way to do it. But we are gonna start with that barbell now and see if we can put all of these things together, and we're gonna go through a lot more detail in that bar. So let's get into it. Let's have some fun with the bar, guys. All right, everybody, we made it. We are at the dreaded barbell, okay? We are gonna learn to love this thing. We're gonna get stronger and better together in great positions here, okay? So everything we learn, let's quickly go over it. Number one, how to hinge our hips into a good position. Number two, we learn how to conventionally deadlift as we hinge. We learn to bend those knees gradually with it, keeping our upper back over our weight, right? And now, number three, keeping that upper back nice and tight and locked in as we lift that weight and stay strong there, right? So now, we have the barbell in front of us, okay? We're gonna start horizontally, and then we'll do some stuff in front so you guys can see knee and feet and hand position, okay? So, horizontally, right? What did we just do with that kettlebell? We did the same exact thing that we're gonna do here, just with the weight in front and between our legs. Now our hands have to be on the outside of our legs, and the weight is a lot more spread out, right? So, my feet are gonna be probably around shoulder width. Every person's a little different. I like being a little bit closer than shoulder width, almost directly under my hips is where I am, and I like to have my toes slightly pointed out, just a centimeter or two to let my knees track in that line, okay? But we'll get to more of that when we do the frontal plane. Now, let's work on just positioning here with our hips and our upper back. So, guys, we learned how to do this before. We're gonna slightly bend those knees, right? Just that little break, right? We're gonna take our hips, where are we going? Backwards. I drilled that into your head. We're gonna go straight back, and we are gonna start to reach for that barbell, right? So now my hands are right outside my legs. I'm in this good conventional deadlift position with my butt back, my upper back nice and tight, right? I'm not rounded here. I'm nice and strong up top, and I wanna put my hands on that barbell. So right here, guys, we're gonna start very light, and we're just gonna learn how to pick it up and put it down. Then we'll get into some really big details. So first, just like we did with the kettlebell, upper back's nice, strong, and tight. I'm gonna grab that bar, and all we're gonna do is stand up all the way, right into that full straight on position. I'm not leaning back, I'm not pulling with my arms, it's simple hinging with the hips, right? So now, we've learned how to pick it up. Can we get back down into that position we just worked on? By pushing our butt back and slowly letting those knees bend and getting back down to the ground in this good position. Do not just drop your hips and squat down. So here's cue number one for a lot of you guys. You're gonna see clients or yourself get those knees too far over the bar as you descend. So when I pick that weight up, I see sometimes a lot of people, they start to push their butt back, and then instead of continuing that hinge, they just start to squat like this. And then the bar hits their knees, it rides down their legs too much, and they end up here. Where's my butt? It's not back, it's down. The difference is we need to be right there, okay? So again, just like we worked on with the kettlebell and the PVC pipe, that is cue number one. We don't want to squat, we need to hinge the hips, okay? Second is gonna be that upper back really being locked in on the bar, okay? So when you go down into your deadlift position, the weight sometimes may be a little tougher, you're not used to the weight you're doing, and you may shoot your butt back first because your back is not tight up top. So if I'm in this position, if it's too heavy sometimes, that butt may just shoot up, and then I'm gonna just round my back and stand up, right? I need to learn how to properly engage my back, locking it in strong, taking some slack out of the bar, and standing up in that better position, right? So just what I said, teaching you how to take slack out of the bar is one of the biggest cues as you get heavier with weight or putting weight onto a bar. So I'm gonna get really close to this barbell for you guys, and I'm gonna jiggle it a little bit. I'm gonna show you what the slack sounds like, okay? So what I mean by slack is I mean tension in the barbell. The barbell is loose a little bit, so listen. Hear that little rattling when I pull that bar up? And I'm not pulling the bar off the floor, I'm just rattling the bar between the weight and the barbell. There's a little bit of room in there that we need to take out of the bar, okay? So what I want you to do is get into your deadlift position, Every bar is different, by the way. There's different deadlift bars that have more slack than others, but most bars have that little bit of slack in there that we wanna pull out, okay, before we lift. So when you guys get in that deadlift position and you put your butt down, I want you to take that little bit of slack out of the bar and tighten our back at the same time before we lift it, right? So I'm here, I'm in my deadlift position, and now listen closely. You hear that little click? I'm gonna let it go now. I let it release. Now again, I'm gonna take that click, I pull that slack out, and now when I stand up, it's gonna be quiet. You don't hear any banging of the weights, any clicking in that barbell because I pulled tension out of that bar. So that's our number 2 there, pulling the slack out as well as tightening our back before we stand up so we are locked in and strong, right? So as I get down there again, let's go over it again. I pull the slack out, listen, that little click, right? I'm nice and tight, my back, I feel strong, and then I can finish my deadlift there, okay? So that is cue number 2. Cue number 3 is finishing properly, okay? So a lot of us, again, as we get more weight on the barbell, when we stand up, we like to just lean backwards and use that back to lift us up, and we end up extending our spine too much, feeling too much lower back strain, and not using our hips properly. So we've taught you how to use your hips in the beginning of the motion, getting into our hinge. Now we have to do the opposite. Take our hips and finish the motion by driving your hips basically into the barbell, okay? And this can get more and more aggressive as you get stronger and more adapted to the barbell, right? You don't have to be 1,000 miles an hour aggressive into it right now, but you can get better at it each time you work and get stronger, okay? So watch me. Again, we're gonna be in our position. Let's go over everything. Little bend in those knees, pushing our butt back, getting down to the barbell. So we're nice and locked in our hips. That's 1. Number 2, slack out of the barbell, right? What do? We click the bar, right? Right there, slacks out, my back is super tight, and I'm ready to stand up. Now, as I stand up, that bar gets around my knees, I'm gonna take my hips and drive them forward, right into the barbell, right? Where did I go? Straight up, one straight line, no leaning backwards, no lifting up with our back. So let's go over it again. Once that bar crosses around our knee range, we're gonna take our hips and hip thrust them forward to finish that deadlift, okay? So grabbing the bar, butt down, slack out, upper back's tight, I start to raise, pop those hips into the bar, and I finish in a strong deadlift position. Now, a lot of you guys may struggle with that right away, getting the right proper feel without getting too much into that back extension, but work on it again. With a PVC pipe, if you want, you can use that PVC, getting down, coming up, driving those hips into it. Doing hip thrust movements with dumbbells is a great way to work on it, on your bench, all different exercises like that to get those glutes stronger, okay? So we've worked on all 3 lateral positions that I wanted to show you. That's an easy way to guide yourself into the bar. Now let's rotate this bar around and let's go frontal plane just so you guys can see where my knees are and where my shoulders are when we get to the bar. So again, my foot position that I like to have is really right under my hips, if not slightly closer sometimes. I don't like being too narrow because I don't like reaching my arms outside too far. I don't feel strong there. I feel stronger when I'm more locked in conventional style next to my knees with my hands. So the further I go out, or even you may feel weaker, right? As your grip opens up, it's a tougher position to hold. So I like having my my feet directly under my hips with my toes slightly pointed out, okay? That's gonna help my knees stay in line with my toes, just like we did with the kettlebell. When our kettlebell was in front of us, where do we have our knees? Open and right in line with the toes. Not here, right? We're not falling on the outside of our feet, but we definitely don't wanna be there, okay? So we're gonna pull the bar in, guys. My hands are right outside my knees. See how my knees can point out slightly over my toes? My hands are on the outside. And again, in that starting position, I pull my shoulders back, which engages my back, and I feel my lats tightening up. And this is a great way to take that slack, like we talked about, out of the bar. So we get into our hinge, bar comes in, and what do we do with that slack? Right here, guys. Pull it out, my shoulders are good, feet are locked in, knees are out, and I stand up, hip thrust into the bar to finish, and there's your full deadlift. So guys, there are so many different ways to work on this. There's so many other videos out there. This is certainly not how to power lift. This is not how to be the strongest person in the world, but this is a great video to get you guys learning how to deadlift, maybe some of these cues you've never heard before. Sometimes people don't really go over taking the slack out of the bar, things like that, but it's very important if you want to get stronger. For a weight like this is only about 80 pounds on the bar right now. It's not a big deal to pull that slack out. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but as you get stronger and you put more weight on, you're gonna need to pull that slack out. You can't do that with a kettlebell, obviously. There's no slack to a kettlebell, but again, as you start to get stronger, those little cues are huge for you, as well as the hip thrust position. When you guys are grabbing that bar and finishing, you don't necessarily, like I said, have to go a million miles an hour into the bar at first, if you're a beginner or you're just learning how to deadlift, but that eventually is going to be what you need to get stronger and get more successful with this position. All right, so let's go over it real quick. You start with that PVC pipe, you learn how to hinge your hips. We learned that. Then we learned how to hinge and get into that conventional position in a good upper back tense position, right? Nice neutral spine. That's number one. Number two, we got to that weight. We used the kettlebell today. You can certainly use a dumbbell to help you out as well, but we used the kettlebell, putting some weight in our hand and learning the motion with resistance. Second was the kettle. Third, we go to that barbell and we teach you all those specific details together in one big position. We took you slack out of the bar, upper back tense position, getting in the right area with our hips and taking those hips and driving them into the bar. So all of those combined, guys, was an awesome way to get you guys to learn how to deadlift. I hope some sort of details here gave you guys some good ideas, or maybe even some beginners. You got over that fear a little bit with this video and you taught yourself how to really get into this position. And I want to hear from you guys. If this helped you a lot, please let me know. You can even send me a message, send me an email. If you guys have any questions, send me videos of your deadlifts. I would love to see them and give you guys cues on how to get better or just certain adjustments. Every body is different, so some of these things may work for certain people, some may not, but in general, this is gonna help most people. It's a nice simple video to give you guys the cues you need to learn how to get those hips and upper back in the right position, so I hope it helps. Let me know how it is. This is really my first YouTube video, so it was a little all over the place, but I hope it really did hit home for some of you guys. And again, I'll make so many more of these, so keep me posted. If you have any questions or comments, put them out there. Any other videos you wanna see, form breakdowns, all that stuff. I'm here to give you guys the best content I can, and I hope it helps, all right? So I'll see you guys in the next video. Have an awesome day.